Okay, one more question.
Yes,
One
we
more
can get
question.
started now.
Participants are able to unmute themselves. Yeah, our participants are also able to unmute themselves.
Yeah. So I'll mute them
Okay,
if
okay,
they
great. Yeah,
unmute
we
by
can.
mistake. But yeah, they'll be able to talk
Mm-hmm.
themselves to you if they have any doubts.
Okay, okay, no problem. Yeah. Okay. Hi, everyone. How are you today? Let's get back to our complete sessions on the Monistic Guide, a practical guide for beginners. Before starting the session, I would like to know regarding your experiences with the monastics. If you are very beginner into the monastics, please raise your hand. Okay. Nice, Divya. Great, Divya. Great to know. How about other ones? Man, Archana, Carol, Abhishek. Okay, if you even have a basic experience of the monastics, this session is about to long about to 45 minutes to 1 hour. So maybe we didn't include the detailing of the each and every topic of the monastic, but I will walk you through the upper level topics of the monastic, how many technologies we are using within the stakes, and a very basic project, a to-do list, and these things we're gonna cover. So before starting the session, for thank you everyone for joining the session, and let's start. Yeah. So for who am I? I'm Aarti Jethaniya, and currently I am the founder of the webstars.in and building this software company with the team of technical developers, SDs, and everything, testers, and as well as the BDBS, and about to scale webstars globally. And I'm also full-time SD at Vidside Digital and working and have an experience of 3+ years in full stack development. Basically, regarding the monastics, I have an experience and have expertise and building and deploying application since last 3 years. So, if any doubts, if any queries, then we can discuss after once we start our Q and S sections. Before the Q&A, I will redirecting to all of you the basic knowledge and basic technologies overviews. Okay. So as well as I am also into the communities, as you see here, GDG Indoor and WTM. Yeah, community is my heart, and I have been contributing into the community last 6 years since my college times. So those who are active in community can relate to my experience that how Google communities and WTM are contributing in the world of community and the student and the professional ecosystem. Yeah, and I've been also a former Google DSC lead, GDSC program. If you have ever heard about it, it's run by the Googles as well. So yeah, that's all about me. And let's walk through. Let me walk you through the agenda of the complete session. So what we are gonna cover into upcoming 45 minutes to 1 hour. That's all about here. First, introduction to monastic. Okay, so what are the monastics? How many technologies we are using here, and what they are about to? What are the front end technologies? What are the back end technologies? What are the database? We will take an overview of all these technologies. Second, building a basic to do app. So I'm not giving you a very hands-on workshop here because of time limitation, but I will walk you through the all the APIs, models, schemas, front end, state management, and all the and the live demo of app to do application. Is that okay? For the confirmation, please just raise the hand if you are along with me till this point. Okay, okay. Yeah, let's continue. Next is key concept recap, just a basic recap of all the technologies. And then the main part, transition to the open source. Okay, how after, if you are comfortable with Manistic's basic knowledge, and if you gain the knowledge that how to build a basic full stack application, then how can you transform into the open source, and how can you contribute into the open source? I will show you some basic points of what can you use, why it is important, and how can you use. Okay, and last second is resources, a very basic resources that you can find from overall the internet, but I will recommend few of the resources that are officials, and I have also preferred them. Last question and answer open to everyone who are joining, who are active in the whole sessions. So would be grateful if I get your questions, and if I'm able to answer your question and resolve your query, then it will be grateful for me. Okay. Okay, so let's start. Are you guys ready? Just please show your enthusiasm by raising the hand. Okay, great. So, what is monistic? MERN is stand for the combination of the four technologies: MongoDB, Express.js, React, and Node.js. So what is the MongoDB? MongoDB is the database management system, DBMS basically. You have heard about the SQL and the MySQL, PostgreSQL, Oracle. They all are the relational database system, relational database management system. But what is MongoDB? It's a non-relational database management system without need to worry regarding the relations, table management, and the migration, and lots of things that are very high point. You just need to focus on what you want to do. Same, same as a JSON format. You are very familiar about the JSON if you are a developer, and if you are a web developer or mobile developer, you definitely know regarding the JSON. What is JSON? Just a key value pair of the information. So that's how MongoDB stores data. What is Express.js? Express.js and Node.js. Let's first discuss the Node.js before Express.js. So initial level, when we are in the wave 1 or wave 2 upcoming area, JavaScript was only used for the client side applications, for creating the front end, okay, for showing the animation, for showing the UI interactive models. So JavaScript was limited to only front end side, but all the other backend, heavy backend, and things are what in which technologies we have written them in the PHP, Java, and any other Go and those things. But JavaScript was not used in the backend side as well. But what is Node.js? Node.js is an open source, a runtime environment for running the JavaScripts on the backends. So it's like a game changer for web world, because earlier JavaScript was only used in the front end side, and for the back end, for developing a back end, if you want to be a full stack developer, then you need to learn the again the concepts of the other programming language, go into detailing class and everything, components, and how the programming works, you know. So this thing we need to learn. Agar then we have to know the knowledge of two or more than two languages as well. But Node.js enable us to run the JavaScript on the backend side. That's how we can create the RESTful APIs. We can connect the databases from the only the JavaScript code, because JavaScript very easy to learn. It's somehow similar to Python, but Python is as an interpreter, and JavaScript is like a used in the scripting language first. But Node.js changes the game, and now the JavaScript is widely second. We can say at the second number if you search what are the languages are popular after Python for the web development, or for the, and I in my perspective, if you are if you want to be a web developer, then JavaScript is your first choice. Whatever, if you are writing the back end, if you are writing the Python, if you are writing the front end, then JavaScript should be your first but due to today's AI era, everyone are using Python as well for the back end system. But the Node.js जो हमारा support है Node.js का, it's very larger than the Python backend like Django and Flask. So if you are beginner, I would suggest just learn one language, JavaScript, create front end in the JavaScript, create backend in the JavaScript. As Node.js use the in the backend side. And what is Express.js now? Let's shift into the Express.js. Express.js is just a framework built in the for the JavaScript uh, for writing the code of the JavaScripts. Okay, like Python, we use the Flask. Python we also use other Streamlit. These are the framework to write the code. So Express.js make it easy to write code in the JavaScript for the backend system. What is React? It's a very popular front end library for writing the front end like UI for the front end of any kind of application. If I say now that how much React is used in the today's era, so I can say half of the market of the websites development is covered by the React only. That's how you can see that how popular and how React is mandatory for as a web developer. Okay, so even whatever backend you use, JavaScript, okay, Node.js backend, Java backend, PHP backend, Python backend, most developers prefer React because of its use cases, components, reusable components, state management, a large set of the predefined packages which we can just install by writing one command, and create beautiful UI using some amazing CSS packages like Tailwind CSS, Materials UI, Art Design, and lot many more. So because of this, React is very popular. Okay, so I think मैंने most of तो cover कर लिया है यहाँ तक, Node.js and React का basic knowledge. So guys, are you with me till this point? Just raise a hand if you understand the points which I explained. Okay, no problem. Let's move forward. Why MERN for beginners? If you are beginners, then why you choose the MERN? As I explained, a single language. You need to only learn the one language, JavaScript. You can write backend, you can write front end within the same language, and you doesn't need to worry regarding learning the new language from the basic to and at the advanced level. Large community and resources. If you know that everywhere monastics developer counts are very high in our India's foremost, and as well as in the country, because it's easy to learn and resources are available, widely available. YouTube channels you can find, articles you can find anywhere. If we compare it to a very latest technology like Go language, then it's very limited to the resources. But Monistic is easily available to learn and very easy to understand as well. Why is it's easy to understand? One language, okay. And MongoDB preferred database we used here. It's a NoSQL database, so you don't need to learn SQL structured query language for extracting the and checking the maintaining the relations, keys relations, and everything. Just write, just check the code in a key value pair of the JSON format, and that's how it works. Yeah, social media kind of application, e-commerce application. This market almost covered by the monastics only. Okay, free and open source tools we have also. If you are in future, as we are also moving forward into the session for the open source tools. So yeah, for open source, I said Monistic is very easy, and you can contribute into the front end libraries. You can contribute into the back end, middleware, back end packages, and show your open source contribution anywhere. Okay, so that's how MERN is right for the beginners. Yeah, so next, and the practical guide of our to do project. Okay, guys, so backend and front end for the two most part for a full stack application. Okay, guys, so why first backend and I write front end? As a full stack developer, if you want to become a full stack developer, basic recommend approach is first to write the backend system. Okay, And backend, first design your schemas, your how your data will store into the in the form of the entities and in form of the JSON in the MongoDB. Okay, so first we build the backend and then we build the front end. Guys are because we all if you all are from the engineering background, then we do the reverse engineering as well. First created the front end and then back end. But as a recommend approach for the full stack developer, we always prefer to write the backend first. Okay, so what backend includes, just highlight points I have written here, but I will walk you through in the detail in the project itself. So developed RESTful APIs using Node.js and Express. As I say, first write the APIs and implement TypeScript for scalable and maintainable backend code. If you guys know that why TypeScript and not JavaScript, okay. So TypeScript is nothing, just a form of JavaScript, but with the types. As you can understand TypeScript like this. JavaScript allows any kind of type for any entities. Okay. So if it is a string, then if we don't like Java, if you know Java and Python are very strict to the types and those things, we can use there any and as well these keywords. But Java is very basically strongly recommend to write the types. So for the proper maintenance of the application, that will जो भी हमारी अननेसेसरी पॉइंट्स हमारे इसमें आ रहे हैं, अननेसेसरी डाटाज आ रहा है, अगर हमने नंबर टाइप करा है, कोई स्ट्रिंग वगैरह करा, तो उन सब चेक्स से, इन सब प्रोडक्शन इशू जब वो बन जाते हैं, उन सब से बचने के लिए टाइप स्क्रिप्ट यूज करा जाता है, ताकि हम पहले से मेक श्योर कर ले कि वॉट एवर थिंग्स वी वॉन्ट टू स्टोर इन द डेटाबेस ना, it should be strictly based on the their type. No other jargon should be shift into the front end and as well as on the back end and as well as on the databases. Okay, guys. So that's how we use the TypeScript. TypeScript, we first use the JavaScript, then move to the TypeScript. It's nothing, just JavaScript in the types format. Okay. Used MongoDB with Mongoose for data persistence. Okay. So MongoDB जो है हमारा, वो जैसा मैंने बताया नो एसक्यूएल डेटाबेस है। हम बैकएंड में कैसे उसका कनेक्शन करते, मोंगोज उसका एक फ्रेमवर्क होता है जो हमें लाइक इट अलाउड अस टू यूज प्री बिल्ट फंक्शंस टू कनेक्ट विद द MongoDB database and use this function to CRUD for the CRUD operation, create, read, update, delete. Okay, so Mongoose enable us to write code for the MongoDB. Design CRUD operation for to-do management, connected frontend and database uh, through secure APIs. Yeah, this all we will cover in the complete architecture. What's front end? Front end is all about the React. Built a modern UI using React, reusable React components. That's how React is popular for reusable components and everything. यूज टाइप स्क्रिप्ट, यहाँ भी हम टाइप स्क्रिप्ट यूज कर रहे हैं फॉर टाइप सेफ्टी, शोइंग द like most time what happens when the production application goes into like web on the live and the production ना, so होता ये था कि कुछ भी जार्गन्स की वजह से प्लेज ब्लैंक आउट का इशू आता था। इफ़ यू नो, अगर आप कोई रिएक्ट में आपने कोई भी एप्लीकेशन अगर डेवलप करी होगी, तो आप इस इशू से बहुत अच्छे से फेमिलियर होंगे कि कुछ भी इशू आता है तो रिएक्ट एक ब्लैंक पूरा वाइट पेज पे रिडायरेक्ट कर देता है। दैट्स वेरी इरिटेटिंग गाइस। मतलब अगर तुम फर्स्ट टाइम डेवलपर हो और तुम्हें वाइट स्क्रीन आ रहा है, यू डजंट नो हाउ टू यूज डेवलपर टूल्स, हाउ टू डीबग दिस प्रॉब्लम, देन यू थॉट कि यार कुछ तो दिख नहीं रहा है, लेट्स मूव ऑन टू द अदर थिंग्स एंड जस्ट लीव इट। I don't want to code into the front end now. I will just uh, I will be a backend developer. I don't want to full stack developer. That's how your decision changes. Okay, guys, but not get more. If you are using the TypeScript, we already handled all those cases where blank screen issue appears for the database, like type kind of things and everything. We can manage all those things. Okay, and integrated backend APIs using Axios. Okay, so this is the main point, how we connect a front end to the backend system. Okay, how we call the APIs, how we integrated both system. So Axios is used for the connection of this whatever APIs we have written in the backend now. we use these APIs in the front end via the Axios. Okay, manage replication state with React hooks, as like React is very popular in state management. We have multiple of hooks like use effect, use state, use memo, and use context, and etc. और डेफिनेटली फास्ट डेवलपमेंट एंड बिल्ड के लिए हमें इनेबल करता है वाइट। अगर आपने सुना, वाइट एक पैकेज है। जब पहले हम लाइक इन नॉर्मल डेज अर्लियर वी क्रिएट एप्लीकेशन ना, तो वी यूज क्रिएट रिएक्ट ऐप। दैट वाज द फ्रेमवर्क रिएक्ट ऑफिशियल डॉक्यूमेंट ऑफिशियली रिकमेंड us to create react app. But when we use this now, it comes up with loads of unnecessary files, which like when we create the production build now, it becomes very heavy for a build production build. So white क्या करता है, हमें सिलेक्टेबल फाइल्स जो होती है एक टेम्पलेट बना के देता है। एंड white will also enable us to use any kind of CSS library like tailwind CSS के पास के हमारे पास में टेम्पलेट्स है white के पास में। व्हाट वी नीड टू यूज, हमें कुछ भी स्क्रैच से सेटअप करने की जरूरत नहीं। अगर हम tailwind CSS we want to use in the front end application in our react application with tailwind, if you heard about, it's a popular library for managing the CSS of the front end applications. Okay, so white provide us a variety of templates and we can use directly. It's very lightweight. Okay, when we move to the production now, it's very helpful for us. So that's how we will work on the front end. Okay, guys, let me just make sure. Are you able to see my screen of the editor? Anyone just unmute your mic or raise the hand.
Yeah, we're able to see your screen.
Okay, okay. Yeah, thank you. Here, okay, you can see here, I have created two folders. First for backend, another for front end. Okay, and git ignore. If you are familiar with git, then it's very necessary. Whatever files you don't want to commit, like .env configuration, important files, and unnecessary files which you just want to use on your local system, you can just write them into the git ignore. Here we have used like node modules, package.log json, yarn.log if we use the yarn or env files, and build folder and dist folder. This thing we never commit into the github. Okay, because each and every developer use their own Node.js environment, so their dependency may conflict. So we always prefer not to commit node modules, package.log.json, and other env is strictly not should be committed into the git because it's contain your secrets. Okay, guys. So now let's move forward to first and foremost thing as a backend. Okay, I will walk you through the code. First, let's check the structure. We have the models. We have node modules is like a basic package.json. Let's start from the package.json first. Okay. So it's the base of any Node.js, Express.js application. These are the dependencies which are used in the project. Okay. So Express, Mongoose, Course, and .env. As we use the TypeScript, so we also need to use the type dependencies of this types express course node, and yeah, TypeScript version and the TS node, therefore running the servers continuously onto the our platform, local platform. Okay, so this is how our package.json looks. It's basically your environment for setting up a backend project. Same in the front end, you will find another package.json which will list all of the packages which are used into the our system, like in a project. If you want to write like install other packages, like if you want to use a tailwind, then another more dependencies will add here tailwind. There are dev dependencies for types and which will edit. You need to use a node package manager npm or yarn or PNPM. These are the package manager which are available on the browser. You can use any of them according to your need. Okay, I used here NPM package manager. It's very large and rich in libraries. We have lots of packages list there. Okay, so let's move on the first source and our first file server.ts. How our server runs. Okay, importing all the basic types from the express like express request and response mongoose. As I say, for using the mongodb, we use this mongoose framework for for the predefined function to connect to the databases and everything. So it provides us a rich library of the pre-built function to connect and CRUD, apply the CRUD operations. Course, what is course? It's a very, you can consider it as a middleware. इट्स अ वेरी इम्पोर्टेंट मिडलवेयर। जब आप प्रोडक्शन पे एक एप्लीकेशन को जब लेके जाते हैं तो किसी अदर प्लेटफॉर्म या किसी अदर पोर्टल से, जैसे मैंने www.opensource.com पे एक हमारा वेबसाइट वर्क कर रही है, ठीक है। अगर उस वेबसाइट पे किसी हैकर कोई भी अटैक करता है, हैकर वालों कोई भी करना चाहता है, किससे, www.hacker.com से एक हमारे पास में रिक्वेस्ट आई, ठीक है, हमारी वेबसाइट पे। सो कोर्स यहाँ पर हमारा एक फायरवॉल की तरह काम करता है। इट विल गिव देम, वहीं से फ्रंट एंड से ही उन्हें रिडायरेक्ट कर देगा। नॉट इवन इट विल ट्राई टू टच अवर, हमारे बैकएंड को भी टच नहीं करने देगा। इसलिए कोर्स मिडलवेयर मैंडेटरी होती है। किसी भी पोर्ट से, किसी भी अदर डोमेन से अगर कोई रिक्वेस्ट आ रही है हमारे प्लेटफॉर्म पे, तो वी विल स्ट्रिक्टली अवॉइड दिम। ओके, बस हमें कहाँ से हमें कहाँ से एक्सेप्ट करना है हमारे बैकएंड पे, सिर्फ जो फ्रंट एंड हमने अलाउ करा है वो। तो हम यहाँ कोर्स में एक अरे अलाउ कर सकते हैं, ठीक है। पूरा हमारे जो जो भी हमें यूआरएल्स जिन पे अलाउ करना है कि इससे रिक्वेस्ट आएगी तो वी विल एक्सेप्ट, इस पोर्ट से रिक्वेस्ट आएगी तो वी विल एक्सेप्ट। दैट्स ऑल। एक्सप्रेस जो हमने पूरा फ्रेमवर्क यूज करा, उसकी हमने मिडलवेयर यूज करी ताकि हम एक्सप्रेस के प्री बिल्ट सारे फंक्शंस यूज कर पाए। Yeah, it's another middleware for URL encoded. It's, you can read in detail when I share you the proper documentation. I have used your MongoDB URI. I have created account on the MongoDB. MongoDB is free to use. Just type MongoDB Atlas on the browser, create your account, create a project, create cluster, and while setting up the cluster, you will find a MongoDB URI. Here, if you can see here, .env file, I have this MongoDB URI. It's my password and my username. It's not to worry about it. I will definitely delete this project. So you doesn't need to care about, but don't expose your production grade applications Mongo URIs. Okay. So yeah, here we connected to our MongoDB URIs. We have the connection function mongos.connect. We use our MongoDB URI as a parameter. Then and catch are the JavaScript. If you know basic JavaScript, then you know how then and catch works. Okay. You can use try and catch, you can use async covered. Lots of the functionality is covered in the basic JavaScript, but I am assuming here that you have a bit of knowledge of the JavaScript, so not gonna cover this in detail. And yeah, we have connected, MongoDB connected successfully. And if it is any kind of error, network error and everything, then we will just throw an error message. Okay. Now we have used another middleware, we can say, but it's basically our routes. Whatever APIs we have created for the to do now, like create API, update API, delete API, etc, etc, this are gonna covered into our routes. Okay, we will explore it again, but let's first complete this one. We will get welcome to MERN stack to do API once we have connected successfully. Port number we are exposing currently on the, I think 5000. Yeah, 5000 if you can see here. And we just run the server here. So I already started the server, but let me start it again. npm run dev. It will give me the successful message first, कि MongoDB connected successfully, and yeah, your server is running on localhost 5000 and MongoDB connected successfully. So that's how my server is started. Let's explore these to-do routes. This is the base, this is the API, and which we call RESTful APIs. It can be used in any front end system if we are allowing them. As of now, we are only allowing our personal front end system. But in future, if you only want to become a back end engineer, you just need to make it like deploy this server on any of the platform, GCP, Azure, cloud, render, Heroku, anywhere. You can deploy anywhere and just expose your URL. And from whichever course you have allowed, you can accept the request and perform very well. So here we have write the gate API, update API, get by ID API, sorry, and post API, put API, and delete API. Basic CRUD operations. Okay. Before deep diving into the controller routes, let's first check the models. What is the models? How our data gonna store in the MongoDB. ठीक है. So हमारा डेटा किस तरह से MongoDB में स्टोर होता है, ये हमारी फर्स्ट स्पेस होती है. मतलब फर्स्ट हमारा टास्क होता है कि हम सबसे पहले व्हेन वी डिजाइन द आर्किटेक्चर ना, फर्स्ट हमारी रिक्वायरमेंट होती है कि वी राइट द स्कीमा, whatever identities we are gonna use in our project. First we write them, and whatever if you know about agile is a सॉफ्टवेयर डेवलपर. जो भी हमारा डेवलपमेंट का पूरा प्रोसेस होता है उसका एक मॉडल है जिसमें हम काम करते हैं. तो जो हमारा बेसिक होता है, सबसे पहले पूरा आर्किटेक्चर डिजाइन होता है, और वो आर्किटेक्चर होता है हमारा किस तरह से एंटिटी कैसे स्टोर होने वाली. तो हम बेसिकली क्या इन्फॉर्मेशन स्टोर करना चाहते हैं हमारे मोंगोडीबी में, उसको हम इस स्कीमा में बना के रखते हैं. हमने टाइप बनाया यहाँ पे एक्सपोर्ट इंटरफेसेस आई टू डू डॉक्यूमेंट में हमने इसको एक्सटेंड करा. तो ये टाइप स्क्रिप्ट में होता है. अगर यू आर यूजिंग जावास्क्रिप्ट देन यू डजंट नीड टू केरी अबाउट लाइक केयरफुल अबाउट दिस टाइप्स. डायरेक्टली आपको स्कीमा डिफाइन करना है और आप राइट कर सकते हैं. तो क्या क्या हम एंटिटीज एक टू डू एप्लीकेशन के लिए मोंगोडीबी में स्टोर करना चाहते हैं, दैट इज टाइटल, डिस्क्रिप्शन, is completed, or at what time have created. Very basic thing, only four thing. But when system scales now, you will find multiple 50 to 100 of schemas in a one project folder only. Okay, ये एक डेमो है तो हम इतनी सी एंटिटीज को कवर करें. Then we have created the schema. From where we are using the schema, as I say, Mongoose provide the variety and the bulk of the predefined function for creating the schema, calling the APIs and everything. So we use the schema from the Mongoose, created this schema. Titles type is a string. Is it required or not? These are some flag: required, unique, trim, and lot more flags are available. So you can just visit the MongoDB official document. I will share the link as well. You can explore more there. Again, description is string, and completed is a boolean type, as it will include false and the true value. By default what we want to use false हम रखना चाहते हैं. Created at it's the date type, कौन सी time पे we have created this task. So this very basic MongoDB schema. Okay, that's how it is. Is it simple to write a one schema and store into the MongoDB? But if I take here the a non-relational database now, then their complexity will be bigger. We need to manage the relations and everything. Lots of the things we need to careful there. And for extracting the data, we have structured query language. We need to learn about this as well. More lots of things. But here you say key value pair. Okay, key value, key value, and yeah, that's how as a JSON, or if you are writing in a English, you can do something. Let's now explore these routes. What are the GET APIs? What are the GET by ID APIs, post APIs, put APIs, and delete APIs? Okay. So when we want to fetch all of the to-dos in our system, now we use this GET API. We have the request and response. Async await, if you know, when you started a JavaScript, now you learned about the async await. What it's do? We will wait for the response, whatever the response, error or success, and then we continue. Okay, that's how we use async and await. So here, what we are using on the same path slash like to do path, we are using a function. We are calling our to do. What is to do here? It's our model which I just described to you. ओके सो हमारा जो भी टू डू का मॉडल था हमने यहाँ पे इंपोर्ट करा स्कीमा का, मोंगूस से का ही फंक्शन हमने लगाया टू डू डॉट फाइंड, बस शॉर्ट करा इफ हमें असेंडिंग डिसेंडिंग जो भी ऑर्डर में चाहिए हम कर सकते हैं, नहीं भी करेंगे तो लाइक इट विल गो, not a problem at all, and just return all the to do's, whatever amount of data into our system, thousands, lakhs, we will return all the data into the front end. That's how a get works. Okay, no filters here. But once uh, users authentication, authorization, role based, these things come now, we apply lots of filters here. That only user related data exposed to the front end, only this kind of data, that user related data, and based on their categories will filter. So we can apply a lot more filter here on the as well. Okay, but it's how find function work, that whatever you have written now, and if you didn't apply any of the filter, then it will return all the data which are available into our schema. Right, now let's move to the next router.get and id function. What is id? Why id here? If you don't want to expose all the data, thousands, lakhs, crores of data, we just want a one entry of the particular user or a particular document. We have the ID on the front end now. Then we just pass the ID. We give this to find by ID function, use the find by ID function, pass this as a parameter, request.params.id, whatever comes by the params of the API response, and return the response, check the response. If it is not found, we will just return a message with the 404 not found. 404 is, what is 404? It's a status. Okay. We have the multiple status, 505 for internal error, 404, 403 forbidden access, like अगर एक्सेस में फॉरबिडन होता है, एक यूजर दूसरे का डाटा नहीं करता है तो उसे 403 एरर्स आ जाते हैं। 404 इज फॉर नॉट फाउंड। तो अगर हमें इस आईडी पे कोई एंट्री फाउंड नहीं हुई है बैकएंड में, तो वी विल जस्ट राइट टू डू नॉट फाउंड। ओके, and return the response if it is success and the error if it is not. Okay, this is how our get and add, very basic. We just use the get, and here we didn't pass the id, but here we pass the id function find and find by id. Next, read up the post api. What it do? Create and create the document entry into our system. Okay, टाइटल डिस्क्रिप्शन एंड जो भी हमने पास करा है, हम एज अ फॉर्म पास करते हैं तो फॉर्म में जो भी एंट्रीज आती है हम उसको एज ए जेसन फॉर्मेट में हम लेते हैं क्लाइंट साइड से, वी टेक एज ए जेसन एंड देन जस्ट एम्बेड इनटू आवर सिस्टम। यूज ऑफ द फंक्शन which we have used here, first we create a new to do is our class, I think, yeah, and we use to do dot save. It's our predefined function for creating any entry into the database. Okay, and just returning the response 201 as a success. If it is success, if it is having an error, we will return the 400 status. Okay, now put. If the data already existed into our system and we want to modify, like हमने टाइटल चेंज कर दिया, हमने उसका डिस्क्रिप्शन चेंज कर दिया, वो हमारी एंट्री पहले से ही है लेकिन वी जस्ट वांट टू अपडेट, देन वी आर यूजिंग दिस put api router.put, pass the id for which document entry you want to modify, pass the id, and here just take the parameters, title, description completed, or whatever the etc, and use this find by id first, which we have used in the second api. Select the first, take this एंट्री कि कौन सा हमारे पास ऑलरेडी एंट्री अवेलेबल है तो हमने वो एंट्री ली, वी चेक, अगर नहीं है तो वी विल रिटर्न टू डू नॉट फाउंड। इफ अवेलेबल, फर्स्ट हम वी विल अप्लाई कंडीशंस, हमारा टाइटल है, डिस्क्रिप्शन है, कंप्लीटेड है या नहीं, एंड हमने जो भी हमारे लाइक वट एवर वी हैव ग्रैब ना न्यू अपडेटेड फील्ड्स, वी जस्ट सेव, okay here I to do await to do dot save and just return the responses. Next and last API, which is delete API. Okay, for delete we need to pass again the exact ID. We can't delete everything or by the one. Yes, we can delete, but we ऐसा डेवलपमेंट प्रैक्टिसेस में नहीं बन जाना माना जाता है कि हम सारी डिलीट करने की फंक्शनलिटी फ्रंट एंड पे देते हैं ऐसा। तो वी सिलेक्टिव आइटम्स फॉर वी पास द अंडरस्कोर आईडी, कौन सी एंट्री आप डिलीट करना चाहते हैं। We use the mongoose predefined function find by id and delete, pass the params dot id and just return the response. That's how our backend is completed. Okay, very easy. Backend is I'm also prefer backend rather than the front end. But yeah, I'm full stack, so both things need to be done. But backend is my first choice. Okay, so that's how we return our complete APIs. We are exposing, we have used middlewares here, and we are completed with our backend system. Now let's move to our front end system. Okay, so in front end, let's start with our main entry point, main.tsx. This is how React work. React is a DOM, React DOM create root. Okay, we create a root. We wrap up our complete project into the app. Like हमारा जो भी कोड है वो सब हमारे ऐप के इसमें यूज हुआ है। एज यू नो कि जो भी रिएक्ट का कोड हम लिखते हैं, वॉट एवर कोड वी आर राइटिंग इनटू द रिएक्ट इज अ फॉर्म ऑफ JSX. इफ यू हैव लिसन व्हेन यू यूज द HTML ना, HTML is very markup languages, so it's a very basic. But it's a when we use to code in the React now, we use the JSX, JavaScript plus HTML. You can simply understand it like this. JavaScript and हमारा जो भी HTML का formation होता है, we called it JSX. So you can see here, it's like a JavaScript function now. But inside what we have used here, code closing tag and this tag of the component. So this is JSX which are used in the React. What is React? React is a front end library which are using to build the front end systems. Okay. So as you know, when you write the code into the our JavaScript now, for any of the ID you use document.get element ID get element by ID. So for complete application, we have defined this root as ID, and now we are connected with the like browser, and we will just code in the JSX and build beautiful components, beautiful structures in our React. Okay, let's move to this app component. App component is a main file of our system. You can first check here the structure. Like we have main app.tsx, CSS are written here. If you are using the tailwind, then you don't need to worry about writing the CSS manually. You have the classes on the tailwind CSS. You can use the into your code. It's very easy to use and very easy to understand as well. We have the types because we are using the TypeScript. We have the services. Why services? I will explain you. This will play important roles for connecting front end to the backend system. Components, the reusable components to do form and to do item. We can use this component just passing the parameters and everything. We can reuse them into anywhere into our complete application. So this called components. Okay, let's first we have created the function. React uses two measure uh, measure thing to write the code, like the class component and the function component. Developers are more inclined into the functions because it's very easy. You doesn't need to care about the state management because आप चाहते हैं कि जितना आपका काम इजी हो जाए और जितना मॉडिफाइबल पोर्टेबल हो वो आप प्रेफर करते हैं आज के जनरेशन. So I also use the function components. Here we doesn't need to worry about the class component and using the constructor and etc. Just write basic JavaScript function, async await function, and use them into our complete platform. Okay. अब ये जो फंक्शन है हमारा, ये पूरा दो पार्ट में डिवाइडेड है, ठीक है। वॉट एवर यू आर सीइंग फ्रॉम द लाइन नंबर 9 टू लाइन नंबर 64, these all are the functions which are actionable items, okay, not the UI. But from this line number 66 to line number 94, these all are the basic UI, the main UI which are we showing onto our platform. Okay, I have already started the server using npm rundev, and my server is serving on the localhost 3000. But I know you won't be able to see see this. Let me show first. Where is this? Localhost 3000 I have used. Yes. Are you able to see the browser? Can you please confirm? Hello? Anybody? Can you see my screen
Hi,
where I'm
Aarti. We
showing the
can't
browser?
see the browser. We can only see the ID.
Let me modify it a bit. So this one, and this one. Let me share the MongoDB as well so that I will explain you. Yep, that's all. Now I think you can see the browser screen now. Hello?
No, it's still not visible. It says that you have
No.
paused screen sharing.
Okay.
Yeah,
Now
now we
it's,
can see it.
yeah. So very basic UI I have created here. One stick to do application. Here is the first input prompt to writing our to do, which will call our post API to which when we click on the add to do button, it will call our post API, and the listed to do will be here. Let me write something. Notebook. Okay. For writing. Okay. Add to do. Here we created. What API we used here? The post API, which we created on the backend. How we used here? Let's explore it. Sorry, this code editor screen is visible to you. Okay. So the first heading we used the basic H1 tag. Whatever you use in the HTML is the main thing. Basically those things, div component, header component, H1P, these are the same things. But just it's a JSX. As I say, it's a JavaScript and it's the HTML formation. So no need to worry regarding lot more complexity as of now. What are the pre-usable component? What are the libraries? We use very basic HTML component, header, H1P1, and for you can see this is our JavaScript. Like we use the check here error, then we will show the error message on the UI as well. The to do form handle to do, what is it and what is it and what is it, three things here. This is the component and this is the main functionality of React. Okay, we have modularized this into our complete platform. A whole app.tsx, we cannot write the complete code of application into the one file. We have used this React to do reusable component here, which is to do form. Okay, this to do form take a proper props which is on add to do. What happens when we add the to do? So what we are passing here, it's a function handle add to do. We have write this function here. When I gone through the first line now, I said key from line 9 to uh, line 64, this is the JavaScript code, and then in the bottom side this is the our HTML code, as you can understand here. Okay, handle add to do, handle update to do, these all are the predefined function. What they do, they call our API, create to do, await create to do API, say to do's. Okay, for this is the state variables. Let me explain you what are the state variables here. We store for one page, if you want to store any of the value, na, like what is the value of like here I am writing something, hi, तो ये कहीं ना कहीं तो स्टोर होगा, it should be stored somewhere to add, to show into the platform first, or before it's going into the backend and save into the system, we need to hold it somewhere. So for holding, we use this use state hook. It's from the React based library. We use it, and we just need to set up as a array. You have check when you read the JavaScript. So how we added. So what to do's and set to do's here. Set to do's, what set to do's do? Whatever the value we want to, like I have written here high now. So it will set high, and if we want to use this, then if we want to show the high anywhere like here, then we will use this to do's. Okay, so that's how our use state hook work here. What is same loading, set loading, error, set error, and the type is script. So we have used the types here. Basic value, initial value we can write here, false, null, or string value, whatever it is. If I write here something now, let me write here. I don't know. Hi. Okay. I think it will give me error because of the TypeScript. Yeah. But yeah, we can write a basic value here as well. False, null, and etc. Use effect. Phase to do's. What it's do. Whatever entries are already stored into our system now, we need to get them to list here. Like notebook, if we refresh the page now, then it will not go anywhere. But if we didn't connect our backend, and if it is was only on the React front end application now, then it will not be shown here. It will move, like it will vanish, because we have only stored into our local stage, not into our MongoDB data. Yes, but it's still showing here even after refreshing, even after going back to other things, it shows here. So that's mean that our backend APIs are successfully connected. We can edit it, we can delete it, and call our APIs which we have written on the backend here. Okay, how we are using it? How first phase to do function works. So phase to do function call the get to do's API. I have said now that this thing which connect the front end and back end. So what is API.tsx? Okay, we write the first API URL in which our server is running. HTTP localhost 5000/API. In this URL, our server is currently running. So we use just Axios main function here. Axios का जो भी हमारा मेन क्रिएट फंक्शन होता है उसको हमने हमारा बेस यूआरएल दिया। अभी हमने हमारा हेडर सिर्फ कंटेंट टाइप एप्लीकेशन जेसन के लिए मैनेज करा है कि ये एक एप्लीकेशन जेसन का जो भी टाइप का कंटेंट होगा वही। इसमें बहुत सारे कंटेंट, ब्लॉब हो सकता है, फॉर्म डाटा हो सकता है, बहुत सारे टाइप के हम यूज कर सकते हैं यहाँ पे कंटेंट टाइप। सो वी कैन यूज एनीथिंग हियर, बट एज ऑफ नाउ वी आर यूजिंग एप्लीकेशन जेसन। ओके, now get to do's. What get to do's do? We fetch this from this function. What we are doing here? We are calling async and await function. It will return a promise. So we have right here the promise. Await or API always return the promises. Okay, not always the successful response. That's why we use the promise. Await, we used await here. We call our API. What is the API which we created from the Axios? We use axios.get and the path, whatever URL our backend APIs is. So if we call the slash to do's now, so it will call our this API on the backend side, which we have discussed. Should I show you again? Let me show. Routes. Now routes. Here is the routes. Okay. To do routes, and it will call this API router.get. Okay. Not here. Here. Same get to do by ID. We pass the ID here in the URL. We pass this ID. Base URL already gonna always gonna same HTTP localhost 5000/API. We are just changing the last part to do's ID. Then it will call our this API. API.ts backend to do route. Okay, it will call this API underscore ID second number one. Okay, create to do will call our post API. We have used here post method. put API will call our fourth number API put. We have used the put method here. We can use a patch as well. ID, we are gonna passing ID. We are passing the data which we want to modify as a payload. जो भी हम payload देते हैं, अगर आपने debug करा हो कभी like here, if you are familiar with this system network मतलब developer tools, then you can see here when I add any items here na, pen, let me write pen, writing, okay, and when I click on the add to do button na, it will call my API. So you can see here to do's. Okay, here headers. What is this? What its content? HTTP localhost 5000. We send it request to here on the to do's. This is our complete URL of the API. What is the method? Post method. What is the status? We have get 201 successful response. 202 is also okay. We can use it. What is our payload? What we are passing into as a parameter of API? This title, description, title and description we have passed, and yeah, that's how it called the backend API and store the data into our MongoDB database. I have also sharing my I am also sharing my MongoDB database. So where is it? I've recently created the one. Yeah, here to do. Let me refresh. Okay, you can see here this test database now. So in test database, we have to-dos schema, and whatever response we have right here, na, notebook, pen, it stores like this in the MongoDB database. Very easy, it's very easy to understand, readable format, JSON format, title, description, created it, completed or not. When I click on the bookmark, na, you can see here. If I click to here to do, okay, pen, I have bought it. So what is it will call? It will call my put API. Here you can see localhost 5000 to do's, and what is it? It is the ID, and the put API we always pass the ID which entry we want to edit. Okay, so by this ID we will only on modify this pen schema. Okay, you can see here like pen is false now. Let me refresh the database. You can see here true, it's updated. Okay, so it's working well here. पेलोड में हमने क्या पास करा था? सिर्फ कंप्लीटेड हमने चेक करा था. इफ यू वांट टू एडिट ना, देन अगेन आवर पुट एपीआई कॉल notebook new. I have added is when I click on the save button, it will call my API again. Okay, what payload this time? This will transfer description and title, and that's how we are updating. And when we refresh our database, we will check, yeah, title updated, notebook new. That's how complete system works here. So I have explained to you this connection between the front end and back end. Same delete works, only need to pass the ID and it deleted the data. And now get back to this functionality. So here phase to do function call our get to do API, which we have all written on the backend, and we are using the services for calling this function. It will set the data once we fetch the data and the state to do's. Okay, and we are running the loop on this to do's. So let me go you through this to do. Here you can see now we have this component to do list. It contains multiple profs like to do's, on update to do, on delete to do, on toggle complete, whatever happens. So we have passed this here. If we go to this to do list component now, it's the same structure as the app.txx file content. It's have just the parameters which we have passed from there. We use these parameters into our system to show the list of the items which are stored into the system and which we are fetching. Okay, sorry. And yeah, for calling the APIs like fetch APIs and everything, we use one another hook in the React, which is use effect. If you can see here, we used use effect, and this phase to the function calls in use effect function. When it will render, whatever value we provided it here. Okay, on the first refresh it always appears. जब भी हम page refresh कर रहे हैं, we are calling this fetch to do function. If I write some variable here, like some state variable here, like if loading is happening, like if, then only call my use effect function, then we can also limit it to any of the state. So we can manage all the states by the use effect, like जो भी हमें live changes करने होते हैं, live fetch करना होता है, we use the use effect for that. For managing the local state, we use the use state here. We have another hooks like use context, which are broader and big concepts. You can read them by the official website of React and learn more about them. But as we are about to reach the time limit, so I am finishing and concluding it in very fast manner. So you can go through this. I think I almost covered the components now. To-do list we have covered. To-do item, another component. It takes the parameters of to-do like title and everything. On update, what happens if we update it? What happens if we delete it? And what happens if we toggle to complete or marked or unmarked, whatever things. Okay. Then these props use inside the same structure we have used here. If we are editing, then we will show this input and text area box. Like here, I show you, no? Like if I click on the edit button, then my one state is getting true here, which state is editing. I have set is editing as true. When I click on the edit button, ना on click event हम लगाते हैं इस पे. We use on click on the edit button. Then this model pop-up appears. कि you have the title and description here. You can modify it. You can save it. So that's how my components and structure works here. Okay. So this is very basic to do application. You can create very beautiful projects into this using these technologies only, which I have explained: MongoDB, Node.js, Express.js, and React.js. Okay. Now, if because we are running it, let's fast. Why MERN for beginners? I have already explained key concept recap. Yes, I don't think we need a recap because I only explained you the overview of all the like terminologies which we have used on the React side. I explained the how props and components work, how use state use management use effect hooks work, and how we connect the front end system to the backend system, how backend APIs are written, how we are using, like how we are creating the MongoDB schemas using the Mongoose, how, what are the middleware, why course is important. This thing I already covered. So yeah, these are the key concept recaps. Let's move to the open source part. Why open source and why Stack for the open source? As I say that lots of developers are using Stack as of now. Then if you check any of the repository on the browser or in the GitHub, everywhere, any other open source platform, what you need to do? Let's first discuss the what are the open source. If you are already familiar about the open source, it's a community. What happens? Software with the source code anyone can view, modified, and distribute. Like Linux, if you are using the Linux operating system, na, so it's open source to anyone. Anyone can contribute into the Linux code, and they can implement their feature by just raising their pull request. Okay, so you can imagine how great open source is. And you can contribute in the major projects which are leading the world economy. Linux, how many developers are using Linux? Most of the developers use Linux, and now because it's lightweight, fast, and developer friendly. So that's how open source, that's how big we can think regarding the open source. And people permission, WordPress copy the platform, GitHub, GitLab you can use to check what are the repositories for open source. And there are lots of other programs even itself, which currently I'm giving in the session of winter code of the I don't remember the full form of your program initiative, but it's also the open source. So Google Summer of Code, Girls Script Summer of Code, Hacktober Fest. There are lots of things which are runs. You can just need to check what are the repository listed in this program for, and you just need to what you need to do. I will also explain in the next. Community driven innovation. You can build with the help of the community with your expertise. Okay, why? Uh, why we do the open source and everything, basically when you only write the code into the local system na, like I have written this to do application, this is my first project of my development career or my engineering, and but I didn't share it anywhere, I didn't post it into the GitHub, I didn't show it to anyone, then what is, will it matter? No, na, because you are not showing it. You have to be careful that what you are building and what you are showing. Okay, so whatever you build, na, don't always put into on your local and say to the interviewer or anyone that yeah, I have experience, I have built. Show your experience, na. And how can you show your experience? First, commit all your things, push all your things into the GitHub, Bitbucket, or whatever you use. Okay, and build the for building the portfolio, if you are commit like contributing into the open source repository, then it will like a very a star, a shining star into your resume na. So you need to be careful if you are building portfolio, if you want to build portfolio skills, then always use the open source. Okay, आपको job opportunities, you can find many of the job opportunities by just your contribution. When you see your GitHub wall na, when you see their green contribution, then it will also like attracts the technical recruiter and everything, that you are committed to your learning stuff, so it will show. So don't always put your code and your projects onto the local host, always commit it to the GitHub. Whatever you want to make, private repository, public repository, do as you like, but please show your work. Okay, and open source give you the chance to show your things, what you are building in the silent mode. Okay, and how you can do is find the projects by the initiatives of the open source, like currently in which you have enrolled, WSOC, and other one is like Google Summer of Code, Girls Script Summer of Code. You can find the open GitHub repository, poke this repository, clone locally. If you know the GitHub commands, very basic commands used for the cloning the repository, create a new branch. Okay, make the changes, whatever you like to commit, you want to implement a feature, like in this to do. If I make it the public now, and if you want to that I want to give the search functionality here, then you can just fork my repository. Okay, clone it locally, create a branch with your name or with the feature you want to implement. uh, Whatever changes, like add the search bar here. Okay, if you write pen notebook for and yeah, and just raise the PR and write the readme.md into your PR that I have implemented this feature as per my expertise. It was very best functionality you have in this to do application, and I want to contribute it. Just write the readme, what is your feature explains, and raise the PR. Okay, when you raise the PR, it will notify the owner. It will check if this project definitely fruitful their project, then they will accept your PR. If there are any changes in your code, they will give you some. They will open some issues into the GitHub, give you the comments on your PR. You can resolve. You can learn with them, and that's how our open source works. Okay, this is the very basic resources for learning the monistic application. You can use the official but if you find it difficult as a beginner, na, then you can use the YouTube channels and articles like Free Code Camp, JavaScript Mastery, Traversy Media. I have used them in my college time actually, and they are definitely, you will find very good content there. Okay, communities है, GitHub है, dev.io है, LinkedIn के groups है, you can go there, uh, check there what you are show your work and commit into your like work. First, learn how GitHub works and how it change because GitHub is very mandatory for each and every developer. Okay. Yeah. So that's how I'm concluding, guys. Thank you very much for your time, responses. I'm very grateful for being your speaker in today's session. Thank you so much, guys. Now, sorry, at the last I'm showing this screen. So here is the feedback form as well. So I'm also dropping the same link. Okay. So you guys can also into the chat box. Please give me the feedback if you are attentive to the whole session, and I would appreciate. Hmm. And if you have any question, I am open for 2 to 3 minutes. I will take your questions. And if you want to connect with me, I am also dropping my LinkedIn here so that you can directly connect with me on LinkedIn. And if you have any doubt in your full stack journey, please reach out to me. I will try my best to guide you into your full stack journey and as well as in your open source journey. Okay. Yeah. So I'm open to the question if you have any.
Thank you so much,
Anyone?
Aarti, for this session. I just want everyone to think again. If you have any questions at all, you can put it in the chat, or you can just unmute and speak up, and Aarti will be here to answer your questions.
Yeah. Thank you, Aman. Okay, okay. If there are no questions, then we can wrap up this session. Thank you so much. Please give feedbacks if you have any. I will appreciate your feedbacks. And if you have any queries and you are not asking here, please just drop me a message into our LinkedIn. I will try to help you. Okay, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you, Oman. Thank you.